I started listening to you a couple of months ago, bro, I don't even need to hear the word depression. I don't even care about that because that's not anything that I identify with anymore.
Nice.
I'm 100% cured. I'm 100% better because I've been listening to the Jesse Lee Peterson show, and I can't even begin to tell you how much I appreciate you. And I just can't even, begin to tell you how much I really appreciate the things that you're doing for young men. Young men need to hear this, and young men need to know this message that you're delivering because it's important. It's vital to their lives, Jesse. I just wanted to let you know that, man.
That's amazing. I mean, you made my day, man. When I hear one soul has returned to the Father, it's like 1,000. It's better than silver and gold. So God bless you, man. Anytime you have situations happening in your life, always be still. Don't overreact. Most of the people that I know, they say, oh, I know Jesus. I love Jesus. I'm an observer. And as soon as something don't go their way, they get mad. I'm like, what the? If you overreact, folks, remember to do that. Don't overreact. And when you get mad, it's your problem. It ain't your wife's problem, your husband's problem, your neighbor, your friend, your preacher, your teacher. It's your problem. Why you think you tick? It didn't go your way or the way you think it should go. Don't have a way you think it should go. Let life just happen. Thoughts make you think that life should go the way you want it to go. And if it doesn't, if someone don't do or say or act the way you think they should act, you hate them. And then you blame them for being mad. It's the darndest thing I ever seen. But it's amazing to see it. So relax. Isn't he Mexican?
Colombian.
He calls himself American.
What is this?
Anchor Baby.
And in this corner, it's the American Anchor Baby.
Daddy's home.
That's an offensive term. People find that hurtful.
You mean it's not politically correct? Excuse me. I'll use the word anchor baby. He's an anchor baby in Canada.
Tell him we still rolling with Trump, too.
Anchor baby, the whole thing sounds horrific. You're just making it sound like immigrants are these horrific, greedy people.
Ustedes pueden aceptar mi negocio o aceptar las consecuencias. Plata o plomo.
So you would be considered white, in my opinion.
You the blackest one in this room,
I think so.
And what happened was his mama got pregnant on the other side of the border. And then a few hours before, just before it was time for him to pop out, she jumped across the border and let him fall on American soil. So he became the anchor baby. They don't call him the anchor baby for nothing. Amazing.
We like this anchor baby, right? Hello, I'm the American Anchor Baby. This is my show. Thanks for tuning in, folks, on this fine Thursday. It's a pleasure to be here with you today because we got a bit of a show for you. And yeah, I'm excited to be back with you. We got to get into a couple of things, crystallization of a couple of things. I'm so glad to finally have crystallized within myself. I'm sure you went through pain. It takes maybe a couple of episodes, but once you hear the crystallization of different takes, you will be in heaven, which is also understanding, okay? Understanding of the world, because, there's all this stuff going on. We're going to get into it. Diddy. Cassie should go to jail. That's the crystallization for you. I'll prove it to you. I'm no lawyer, but, if I could do it, I don't know, whatever. I'll just let you know. Look, we'll get into it. Someone says sports are white. People, I think the right wing does not like sports a little bit, right? Sports ball. I think I got my friends into sports, but they're into teams. And there's something I didn't get about that, but we got to get into it, okay? We might have to deal with the potheads today too. Who remembers Chance the Rapper? Look, we're diverse today. Someone mentioned I have range. We got a range of topics today. So, are we politicking at all? Any politics? We'll see what's up with the news later. But welcome everybody to the show. It's the Anchor Baby. You can call in 888-775-3773. You got something on your mind, something you want to say. Welcome to my viewers on rumble.com/American Anchor Baby, punchy.tv/Anchor Baby. Make sure you make an account. You know, my Punchy channel right now might be in maintenance, but make an account on punchy.tv. All right, folks. Welcome, everybody, on YouTube. Click the like button. Don't be rude. Just get in there. Say hello. Leave a comment. Tell me what you like, what you don't like. And before we get going, look, check it out. People were asking, and I want to let you know right now that it is true. You know, you can't always rock the White History Month big letters like me. Okay? You know, you can't, maybe you can't be, what's the Rudyard Kipling poem? Something about being like this and that. But look, maybe you can't wear the big White History Month shirt on the big letters too. Wear the colors. Hold on here. What's our shop again? Isn't it JesseLeePeterson.shop? Okay, we got it. Okay, look. I don't know how to type. Something's wrong with me. Why you can't wear the White History Month? You just can't do it. You could get yourself a little mug, okay? Get yourself a mug for now. Look, the internet can't even handle it. Look at this. Look at this. The internet can't even handle this. Even though I'm like rocking it. In some aspects, the internet must be shielded, even on the website here. But when you get it, it's not censored like this, okay? Get yourself a little mug. It's got both designs. I know people want the hat. We're trying to get the hat looking right. Maybe we can do that together. But that's available. Jesse Lee Peterson. That's JesseLeePeterson.shop. Shirts available and more. Okay, the coffee and all that. We don't really get to say. I've been meaning to do this. It has to be done in a better way on the JLP show. But the coffee is sincerely high-grade stuff, okay? We didn't skimp on this. So if you just like coffee, give it a try. At least give it a try and tell me what you think, for real. At least tell me, okay, I'll never buy it again. I'll donate a different way. But you know what, Anchor Baby, you weren't lying. That is some high-grade coffee. Let me know what you think. 888-775-3773. I see calls coming in. I want to crystallize this because it's going to make sense. What the heck? What does Diddy matter? It doesn't. Okay, he's an individual who may have been involved in some sordid things, despite it all. But look, it's the spirit of it all. Look, let me crystallize this. In the spirit of saying things in less words, which might make some of my segments a little short, but I think it's better. It's for the best. In the spirit of saying things in less words, let me crystallize the Diddy take. Pause. Wait. Sean Diddy Combs was being accused of a lot of things, okay? But he was charged with 5 charges, okay? And they were racketeering conspiracy, 2 counts of sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and 2 counts of transportation for prostitution under the Mann Act, okay? That all came from the DOJ, specifically through the U.S. Attorney's Office of the Southern District of New York. All right? Everything he was being accused of, the drugs, the freak-offs, the beatings, the intimidation, the coercion, the violence, the control, the baby oil. All of that was used as supporting evidence to try to prove specific legal charges, okay? He was acquitted. Okay, he was acquitted of all but 2 of these charges. The two violations were under the Mann Act. Transportation for illegal sexual activity. That's what he was charged with. He was acquitted of everything else. I'm no lawyer, but take this in. Diddy was acquitted of the sex trafficking and the racketeering. It's in those charges where the accusations of violence, force, coercion, all of that was in those charges. The racketeering and the sex trafficking charges. They put everything on that, by the way. They put everything they had into that. They put it all into that. The witnesses, the testimonies, the everything. They put it all into that. And all he got was the charges on the Mann Act, transporting individuals for illegal sexual activity. And that what's the threshold for these charges? Knowingly transporting someone across state lines for the purpose of prostitution or any sexual activity that is illegal under any law. And that's it. No violence, no coercion, right? No sex trafficking, no, right, bribed or anything. No force. It was just that. So if he was not found guilty of coercing, bribing, drugging them all into the submission and to do all this terrible things, then these women willingly went with him, okay? And she participated in prostitution, and we have the receipts now. The receipts are there. They went through the case, and they're like, okay, well, you weren't sex trafficked. This was just the Mann Act. This man just transported you illegally. And you got to understand that, of course, she wasn't charged here because no one in the law here sees her as a perpetrator at all or complicit or anything. If you notice, all aspects of the law see her as a victim. And so that's how she avoids charges. That's how she avoids any attention. But I'm no lawyer. I'm just a guy with a podcast. But if I may present this in a certain perspective, if there was enough attention, if there was just the right will and perspective on this, she totally deserves charges, right? Because consider he was found not guilty of coercing, bribing her, and all this, whatever all the coercion and the violence and the charges he was acquitted of. So then these women willingly went with him. They were complicit with prostitution, but of course this Mann Act, this whole thing, which was started a long time ago. Someone said that the Mann Act was in place before women got the vote. Is that true? Is the Mann Act and got the vote? You know what I'm saying? Let's get that straight. That's interesting. That whole thing was to protect the transporter and protect the transportee and charge the transporter. You understand? It was at its core protects the woman, the transportee. And in the spirit of it, it makes sense when you look at the history. It was supposed to be, there was some panic about white slavery, women being brought into this dark world of prostitution and illegal sex work and all that. And to protect them, that's what this Mann Act was about. So that was the first thing, right? That was the first crystallization there. It's like that. When you see what I was trying to say, Cassie should go to jail. Cassie should receive something here. And so that's the first take there. Done with that. Short and sweet, right? Jeez. Only 11, 12. It's okay. Short and sweet. Cassie should be in jail. Substance should go down. Here we have the receipts, and she's saying that she's complicit. And why did the government even go after Diddy that way? Well, they saw this as this guy, Damian Williams, the attorney that brought it forth, who had the jurisdiction to do so. He said it himself, Cassie He's there to prove. He's coming to before the court to prove that Cassie and others were coerced, right, emotionally abused into doing these things. And here they were proven wrong. The government was proven wrong here before a jury. And so he was found not guilty in that. So they were protecting this woman. And he totally believed it. You understand? So the government goes after this. Cassie should go to jail. That's that. But what else did I want to say? Little tiny point. In another perspective, you see that the government maybe is supposed to be this way is what I'm trying to say. Maybe men are supposed to be criminalized, and if you just criminalize the men here, you're going to get rid of this problem, and maybe it's supposed to be that way. Maybe so. I mean, for example, according to this, the Mann Act was passed before women got the right to vote. 1910. Women's suffrage, 1920. You know, it all kind of fits a certain timeline, but consider for a moment that it was a different America, a different world. So maybe it's supposed to be that way, ladies. Maybe we're not supposed to be like, hey, wait, hold on. Is America for 100 years, have they just ignored, have they made victims out of women when they were perpetrators part of this? I bet you, I argue, yes, in a large part. That's part of what I'm saying. In a large way, this goes back, right? Women are seen as victims, right? They're not in many cases. But here is just society attempting to deal with what is not the main driver, which here is women want to be out there. Women want to be exploited, and they use all that. But they're trying to, it's society attempting to actually root out real sex trafficking. That's why they call what they charge Diddy with sex trafficking by coercion. They add all that in because if you follow the history of the law, the Mann Act and the Sex Trafficking Act or whatever, it's society trying to get more specific and actually root out real sex trafficking because people lie. And so, ladies, maybe it is supposed to be that way, where if you criminalize the men and focus on that, you actually do deal with an ill of society. But that was also when women agreed with their different role in society. So can we continue these protections? I don't know. It's all topsy-turvy here. And we got prostitutes. Basically, willing prostitutes, to crudely summarize, hand in hand with the government, going after Diddy in a wrong way. That's it. That's the crystallization. Boom. So what else about this? Okay, so it did reveal like Rico-esque things, right? Sordid black moguls with money getting weird and wild with their money and actually getting, evidence of threatening and at least acting like a mafia. You know, the money goes to your head, you're Diddy, someone wrongs you, Kid Cudi, that whole thing. You know, for those that know. Hey, the jury didn't see it as RICO charges beyond a reasonable doubt. Fine. But hey, black rappers, degenerate rappers with their money getting crazy with it, thinking they're mafiosi. Yeah, I'm not supporting all that. Yeah. But what else? That's it. That's it about that. Look. Does that make sense, huh? Let me look at the chat because you guys are chanting jail Cassie, right? You guys are like, wow, this guy, this anchor baby, he's not a lawyer, but somebody make him a lawyer, right? Let me see what you guys are saying. Free him. Right, y'all? I'm not supposed to say that. I'm not supposed to be saying like, right? But I crystallized already, so I think I could do that a little bit. How you doing, too, Padre? What's up, everybody in the chat? Welcome. Albert, David, Kevin. Do we need any more mods in the chat? Do we need order? Let me know. At least in the YouTube chat, you know? This was also good for the clip, okay? That way we could clip. I feel more confident about this being a clip. That's what it is. We got to clip things up out, folks, okay? We got to get things out there. Put the message out. Anchor baby gaining a little weight. Wait, hold up. What are you saying here? You think so? It's just too early, man. Albert, it's just too early. It's too early to even talk about that. Okay? But we'll get the stats. We'll get the stats for the folks who want results working out and stuff. But Albert, just let's leave that for another day. Let's calm down a little bit in the chat. Am I going to make a fundraiser to make Nick a lawyer? You think so? Thanks, folks. 888-775-3773. I'll get to the super chats, coffees, and all that. I see them coming in. That's it with all that, right? You guys catch Punchy? Nah. Let me move on because it's just more Diddy stuff. It's just something that was brought up on Punchy, but it's just, there's no need. Let's move it on here. 888. Sports ball. The sports. It's just the lighting. Who's into sports? Who's got it? Who's following sports, huh? Football, huh? Basketball? I haven't been following anything. It's been so long. I used to follow soccer. I see some stuff out there. What's going on with soccer now, White Sports? There's some interesting shockers. I still notice some things, but for different reasons, like Al Hilal. Now, I don't know much about this team. Al Hilal, SFC. Saudi Football Club, simply known as Al Hilal. They got interesting players. Is this a representation of Saudi Arabia? I heard Saudi Arabia is a strange nation in that it's got a very large foreign worker population. And I heard that they're designated as such. You know, they got it all figured out because they don't have like a big population, I heard. Is that true? Saudi Arabia population. They have like a bunch of money, but it's not like a big nation, like a big contender out there in that region. And so this team, I'm looking at their Al Hilal team. They got the Joao Cancelo. They got Alexander, I don't know who these people are, Mitsovic. I don't know if these are Saudi Arabians, you know what I'm saying? Like, call it the globalist. Is this what teams are now? Globalist Sports has brought to you all sorts of upsets. One upset I'm kind of talking about is Al Hilal shocked Manchester City. I mean, this is an old team, Manchester City. It's not like these teams win everything, right? They play many games over years. But it is a big name. You know, Manchester City, they're saying some Middle Eastern team. 4-3 extra time in Orlando. You know, I'm describing a number of things in parallel quickly here, but the population makeup and the foreign worker population, this globalist FIFA world, explaining the rise in strength of some of these clubs. 33 million in Saudi Arabia, okay? So that's like, so what, California? There's more people in California. There's more people in California than Saudi Arabia. But that's just a little bit of stuff for you there. Sports now, I'm really not following stuff. Can we say boring? Or is that just me? I know this kid is like crazy, right? Lamine Yamal. Anybody know this Spanish kid? The Spaniards can get dark, right? They can get pretty dark. So like, I'm not laughing. You're laughing. He was born and raised there, and I don't know much about him, honestly. I don't know about his parents, anything. Look, Lamine Yamal is apparently one of the absolute best. What are his FIFA stats? Like FC 20. How are you 19? Like, imagine the ego. What happens to the ego of a 19-year-old? And you load up FC 25. Who even plays that anymore? Everybody's a sweat on there. It's not fun. Am I just revealing that I'm trash? Maybe. But look, you're 19 years old. You open up. Where's his stats? What am I typing in? Lamine Yamal. What kind of name is that? I thought it was French. FC 25 stats. You load this up. And you you play your own guy, and you're like a gold 81 rated. All your stats are maxed out. You're as good as like what? Messi, maybe. Look, and you're 19. Like, what does that do to the ego of a kid? They say he's one of the best 19. But look, I mean, whatever. I don't know much of anything. I don't know much about any of this stuff anymore. It's so boring to me. I mean, I saw what? It was 2016. When was it? It was one of these World Cups back in some around that year. And I'm watching soccer. I'm like, what the heck? This is actually sick. Like the actual game itself. And so I started playing a bunch. And yeah, I ended up learning about clubs and all this stuff. But that's it, I guess. Sports now, I don't know. Football, that's big, right? I know some people are into college ball. What's up with the college ball thing? What? Is it because they're young and anything can happen? I kind of liked watching the Middle Eastern clubs for that reason. Anything can happen. It's a rocket into the top corner or just anything can happen. But sports ball. I think I got a lot of my friends into sports too because I got way into it. I started taking a soccer ball with me everywhere. I'd come into the kitchen juggling, and I'd put it away, get to do my shift. I'm out in the back juggling. I'm off kicking. I come back sweating. What were you doing? I'm playing soccer, bro. I was just really into it. I wanted to juggle really, really well. And I wanted to kick really well. So I'm not really a baller like that. I'm not like actually get out there with a team. I started playing with pickups, random people. It's been fun doing all that over the years. But I got into just like the form of it all. Anyways, I think I got all my friends into it though. They started all telling me about teams. I don't know what it is. Is it influence? Now they're all into soccer. I'm talking to them in the group chats. But they're into like all the teams and follow. Oh, did you see this team or that? I'm like, I never understood that. Like we have stats now. We have stats and footage, and we can see who the best are. Like my buddy who's not even from where are the Green Bay Packers, the Cheeseheads, right? The Green Bay Packers. He's not even from there. I just don't understand. He just chose them. I forget what. It was like a thing, too, because of some event with some person. Drinking was involved, I think. And he's like, yeah, Green Bay Packers is just my team. He's just my team. He's from Ontario. Hamilton. Shout out. He's from Hamilton, Ontario. I always told him this. I don't understand this. And whatever. So you're just into teams. I just never got it. It's like, what about like how you throw it and then spin the aerodynamics of it, the beauty of the teams, how they move up and strategize. That's kind of what I liked about it. The individual creativity with the ball, the playing itself. So I like playing and all that. I know it's a little bit of a right wing thing too. I've seen this over the years. It's a distraction, a big distraction. You see what the elites do. It's bread and circuses, and you'll forgive the sarcastic tone a bit. Some of this it makes sense, but it's a bread and circuses thing, man. If they give you bread and circuses, you got your teams, and you're like, oh my gosh, and you don't even realize that they put in the LGBT, and now you're kneeling to George Floyd. I mean, some of that makes sense. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's just sports ball. It's just dumb, fat boomers. I don't know. There's a lot of things about it. I've heard some things over the years. Sports ball. I can understand some of that. I think that's what I find boring about the fanfare. How can you watch some of this stuff too? And then I see someone like watching a game, and then I see them watching the game, and I realize, okay, that's why. It's like the game is cool. It's just people like the game. And you don't care about all the stuff around it. It's just a shame, right? It's a shame. Oh, you're kneeling for Floyd, blah, blah, blah. I guess we're just going to accept it. Why do they push this everywhere? Hey, whatever. I get to just sit back and watch my sports. So that's what the right wing hates about it, I guess. But sports are actually kind of interesting. Someone said this earlier. They're white. There's a little bit of white history, to be fair. White history. All the sports you watch, they were They all started in Europe. Pretty much all the sports you're watching, the games. Games, sports, they're kind of like a high IQ thing. Yeah, they've commodified it, gamified it. You spend money and waste your life. I mean, people wasted their life on chess, I think, but I don't know if that was that common. I don't know if it's that easy to waste your life on chess. You got to be a certain type of person. But games are like a high IQ thing. Games are like all right, to simulate, gamify something, play something out, get better at something, refine a technique, being able to be consistent on a technique. This is starting to get racist. I think they're starting to teach that in the schools. Consistency, being on time. Yeah, that's a white framework. Consistency and technique, reproducibility. You understand? That's why golf is that way, right? It's like, yeah, can you reproduce this technique over time? How good are you? And then there's the other aspects, right? The sports try and show different aspects of physicality. But what, rugby, like pretty much all of them are white history. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me where I'm wrong here. Rugby. England, early 1800s. I mean, consider even the teams, the regalia of it all. The fanfare, the regalia, right? The different teams. Something about that, right? Order. Call it structure. Emphasis on rules. Leagues. Uniforms. Hierarchy. Standardized rules. Huh? I mean, I'm just throwing words at you. Oh, no, you know I'm not wrong. I'm not going to read that. Everything's fake. That's just propaganda. Okay, when I'm on camera, it's different. If you're actually bad at games, you cannot be trusted with anything seriously important in real life, in my opinion. No one's even going to understand what you're saying because no one even sees it the way you see it. Everything is fake. It's propaganda. Games, they're high IQ. Maybe I'm not high IQ. Look. Rugby, 1800s. Basketball, right? You learned that one today, right? Basketball was a white man. Football, hockey, soccer, cricket. The Indians like that one. I think the white man gave it to them. Lacrosse. Wait, which one's lacrosse? Is that the one with the net? With the stick in the net? Whew. That one's pretty violent, no? Hockey, lacrosse, what's up with those? Those can get pretty violent. And it's like allowed. What else here? Tribal bonding. Here's the deeper dive. I just typed this into ChatGPT. No, I'm not going to read this. That's wrong. Let me think on my own 2 feet. Folks, that's sports for you. It's a white thing. White history. 888-775-3773. Amazing. We're being brief today. We're being brief and crystallized. America should call football American rugby with helmets. Where are the sports people at? In the chat. Tell me how. You know, I've just said literally every truth about it. You're sitting there like, wow. At least click the like button. The sports people know I'm saying the absolute truth. Like, this is riveting stuff. Don't be a liar. We're just being brief. Sports ball. Look, I got something else for you. This is for the potheads, maybe. Let's see how we can flesh this one out. Wish I had more. Could have written this one out a little bit better. Being brief has its own challenges. Off the field. You know what I'm saying? Chance the Rapper. Anybody ever listen to Chance? Anybody ever get into this guy? It's been a long time since I really listened to him. He's like a Christian. No, did he become a Christian? Was he always a Christian? Then kind of let that light shine in the later albums. You might remember him from. Let's see. What would you guys know him from? Chance the Rapper. What does he even have like a hit, like a popular song? He just had like a number of songs that maybe some of us were like, hey, that's a pretty cool tune, man. I kind of like this Chance the Rapper guy. It's pretty artistic. Let me see, does Chad even know? When I say Chance the Rapper, what's the song that comes to your mind? Does a song even come to your mind? Chicago. Bam. Chicago guy. Bam. Illinois. Chance the Rapper. Kind of how like Needle Drop does it. He'll give you like the title, give you what it is with the little sound. This guy, you know him. Rap is torture for me, so no. Asking your 80% white demographic viewers if they heard of Chance the Rapper is crazy, Nick. Yeah, is this, how deep is this actually? Is this that under, like, how deep in the cuts is this? Because, you know, like, I'm like, it's like I'm white, but I'm black, right? And so this may be lost. But look, just know that he's got some, does he even have sway or movement in the hip hop community, in the black community? Look, he hasn't released anything in some time. So he's kind of gone. And then he came out with something back in the day called acid rap. And I guess he did acid. And I was like, oh, this is like psychedelic, but rap. It's kind of cool. And then he was like a Christian, right? And he's like, I'm a Christian all over this album. And, oh, they're not letting me release some of these songs because it's too Christian. Coloring book. So this Illinois, what's his name? Yeah. Illinois-based, Chicago-based Chance the Rapper. He's coming out with new music. And I fear, folks, I don't even fear. It's just funnier to say it that way. I fear, folks, it's going to be trash. We are in store for some major garbaggio. And I don't usually say stuff like that about releases and songs even. I usually listen to things multiple times. You know. So I usually don't say stuff like that. But I think we're in store for some major garbage, and I think there's commentary about culture, pot culture, black culture, white history, maybe even here. There's threads here, folks. So we're gonna see if we can take our time here, kind of pull through some of my notes here. Because this, what's this with pot and black people? Like they really married that together, and some people really believe that like this is actually a deep history, and they've been able to support this over the years. But this support is flimsy, right? If you'll allow me. But anyways, he had a song called "We Don't Do Drugs Like We Used To." I think that was on the Christian album, by the way, Slim Davis. Bobby Blanco, how you doing, sir? So where were we? Look, Chance the Rapper here. It's like I'm coming out of the obscurity and I'm coming out with music, but it's doo-doo. I think this song is a snippet of a song called Trees. I think it's called Trees. We're gonna do a little listening here, real quick here, okay? Here's Chance.
Tied up once it's legalized because it is a trend.
July 3rd, 2025, noon. Is that today? Oh, that's in like 20 minutes. This is that's serendipitous. Is that the word? I never used that word correctly, I don't think. Directed by me, the rapper. By Chance the Rapper. Yeah, you have like this eponymous stage name. Is that even your name? What is Chance the Rapper's real name? You know, so it's a little bit like extra to be like, it's me, the rapper. I know I'm nitpicking. He's known. Okay, here I am talking ish. It's got 1.4 million views. You know, I don't get to post something and get 1.4 million. But you know, if I was some kind of snooty critic, maybe I'd look at the release history here, and it's like, really, bro, you're gonna come at the scene saying me, the rapper. Who's you? Who is you? Okay, let me stop with all that. Chancellor is his name. Chancellor Jonathan Bennett is coming out with this, and you're seeing some of this already. I'm feeling compelled to go through this. We got the time. I feel compelled to go through this. Now, someone said this sample was particularly interesting. Oh, look at this. This ish is about to be arse. I'll leave it at that. I don't know if he's getting too positive of a reception. He's getting mixed reviews, I think. Oh, this going to be a fun and catchy one. Now, this totally felt like the years when I was listening to this. I'm back. I'm transported back, 10 years ago? They got Lil Wayne on this thing. What's Lil Wayne been doing? Lil Wayne's on this thing. Yeah, we're doing a song about pot. Okay. But it totally sounds like from 10 years ago, right? It sounds like all that stuff. This is a 2015 banger alert. Damn, we got a 2015 banger. So India Ari, is that someone's I can't remember who that is. India Ari. I can't remember who that is, but that might be actually a pretty interesting sample. A little R&B for you. But check this. Look, let's just kind of go through this. I feel compelled to actually do this. Silliness. A problem with the weed. Okay. Some of the imagery already. Wait. I guess there's just growing stuff so far. We got the ladies, the starring Lil Wayne and all this. So not much happened. It was really around here. Yeah. It's this imagery right here. You got the white man. Yeah. You got the white stuffy suits. Look at these guys. These guys don't smoke pot. Look at these squares with the police lights behind them. Of course they're stopping blacks and people with soul from just living. Just let us smoke their pot, man. In this white man's game, it's kind of it's all faded out, and I can't quite tell, but I think that's the lyrics. In this white man's game. One more time, just for the folks. They're gonna have us tied up. They're gonna have us tied up when it's okay. They're gonna have us tied up when it's legal. You're gonna be tied up when it's legalized. You're just not even making sense anymore, man. You gotta get up the pot. It's just a tree, bro. So it's just a tree, and you got this imagery. You got the afros. You see this? I see this a lot. Is that just me? The afros. I know the Rasta. Look, I know there's a Rasta thing, and you're gonna tell me this history, but what's this? Why they keep trying to marry this? And it's like at this point, now I guess you can stand on history because it's just been decades. But this is the thing about history. It's so phony at times. Yeah, you can stand on decades of history of blacks and pot. But this history is what? It's like criminalization and us protesting against it. And why are you putting us in jail? You know, ancient history. Why is a people, black people, and they just, you know, marry these two things so easily? Like, this is a psyop, right? Like, come on, there's got to be some thought about this. So where was I? Look, they got the afros here, tree. They're smoking up. They got the doobies out. Okay. So where was I? I mean, some will argue, okay, there is a history, though. There is some kind of history. Let me pull that up. Brown. I mean, this stuff is old. This pot stuff is old. Super old, right? Thousands of years, okay? You're going to the old world. What about the Arabs? What about the Indians? Right? Hashish, they call it. Where did I put it? Right? And then you got the Jamaicans. How did they get it? They call it ganja. I don't know, but they got some religion, okay? I don't even know that much about it. It's called Rastafarianism, and this ganja is deeply tied over there. But that's something that came about, they say, in the 1930s, okay? Apparently they had this Indian immigration. Workers, it's a labor thing. You know, you need labor all the time. You bring in these workers. It's an old thing. They make babies, they stay. These Indians brought over pot. They say, that's what they say. They say they brought it over. They called it ganja. It was about meditation. It was deep for them. It became deep for the Jamaicans. The Rastafari thing had a bunch of other things too, though. You marry all that with pro-black, like anti-Western, right? Anti-colonial stuff, right? The West is Babylon. It's Babylon. You know who else sees the West or civilized society as Babylon? Those people out in Slab City. You familiar with Slab City? That's out here in California. I'd say let's go film, but I hear it's very, very dangerous. It's like an anarchy. It's like the only place in no laws. They say that, even though they receive services, police go out there. It takes a while, but it's very dangerous. It is very dangerous. Crazy murder rate. YouTubers that have gone out there are like, I'm spending 24 hours to quit. But that doesn't mean anything. But look, Slab City also, those people out there have like a Christian religious thing going on. And they call civilization Babylon. A little parallel for you. You might find interesting. But pot, it seems, in the West is like a modern thing. So can you even say it's that deep? Can you go take it that far back and be like, oh, blacks have been deeply tied with it? Okay, even with the Rasta thing, you're not Rasta, you're an American black. Many are, right? It just doesn't make sense. So the only history between pot and black people is like the history of criminalization in America and being criminalized over it. And jazz music. That and jazz music. I mean, it's not that deep, right? To make it, it's just, when you see how, when you have such a false history in this way, you know, that's really what I think is been what's so bad about this black identity, what's so pernicious about it. What's been so bad about Black History Month, it's not even so much calling something black, you know. I mean, we have White History Month, but it has its reason, right? It has its reasoning. And the content and reasoning is important here with this whole black history and all that. What's been so really terrible about it all is the lie about it, is the false history of it all. And so that's how you get people that are easy to lie to. And you can have politics all the time, you know, legalizing pot, you get people talking about black and brown people being criminalized over it. If you want to legalize something, if you want to make something terrible legal, just get blacks, the women. How do you both have legalized sex work? You got to legalize sex work, but also sex trafficking. We're living in this world of sex trafficking. You can't both, right? Anyways, so that's strange, right? This whole marrying with the blacks, this false history, it's strange, right? It's just wrong. But yeah, Chance the Rapper with the potheads here. Not growing up, music sounding like it did 10 years ago. It's like, what's going on here? Time to grow up. Seems like a common story with the potheads, no? Come on. It's like, stuck culture, stuck synapses. Stuff is sticky. The stuff itself is sticky. What else here? Yeah, here's one. You know, I was playing lawyer earlier. It's like, dang, this anchor baby is like a freaking lawyer. A lawyer will call me and tell me I'm crazy, maybe. But maybe a doctor could tell me I'm crazy. Or check this one out, Dr. Nick, making connections, being. It's not that deep actually. I don't have a lot of evidence. I just have some maybe forward lateral thinking here. Pot. Health. Okay. Pot is pretty much illegal in a lot of places. Canada federally legalized it in the few years I've been doing this show. Yeah, you got California and a number of states. I mean, this is a continuing drive. Right? It just continues. The government has, I think, an interest in this from the get. And so what was I saying? There's all these reasons for its legalization, but I mean, at this point, it's medicinal. It's medicinal properties. I don't know if that's really even the forefront. People even care to even have any to even pretend it's about that. I don't know if people care or if it matters, but that there is a lot of thinking, reputation behind pot that I think has arisen over the years of going against the reefer madness, which was when, decades ago? I think that was even before many of us were even alive. It's like, man, you don't understand. They had reefer madness. They were telling people pot made you crazy. It's like, these people are nuts. Boomers are crazy. I mean, look at these posters, man. They had these reefer madness. They really thought that it was going to like melt the skin off your face and make you crazy. It's like, turns out it just makes you crazy. Just your understanding, I'm describing some of this culture that's arisen in response to all that, reacting to it all, saying, "Oh, man, who's ever died off of pot? You people drunk drive, and they drink themselves to death all the time." So they've been educating themselves, and they've come up with all sorts of medicinal and all these positive properties. It's supposed to relax you. It's supposed to do all these things, but I think all that has become a bit of an unquestioned thing, and a totally unquestioned thing that it's supposed to, for example, it's supposed to calm you down and make you less anxious. It's just so not that. I remember some time ago relating all the stated effects of cannabis as it is described in, I forget where, I think even just by doctors and even pot stores. I remember some time ago just going through the stated effects and drawing the parallel to what in the medical world they call, what do they call it? Inducing psychosis. What is it? What's the word for that? There's a word for like inducing psychosis and substances that induce psychosis. And you just like, you could totally draw a straight line between all the stated effects a user's state they get from pot and psychosis inducing substances. So where was I with that? These are the things that I'm trying to describe the difference in what people are saying pot does and what it actually does, and this mentality about it. And another one of these things is it's about appetite, inflammation, and pain. It's supposed to reduce all those things. Hold on here. And even I think specifically for like gut issues. They'll say strains and certain strains and and certain even edibles can be used for its anti-inflammatory effects on the gastrointestinal inflammation. I don't want to say this too strongly. Thought I was reading something about doctors even saying something like this, promoting cannabis to help with gastrointestinal inflammation. I'm going to relate this to anecdotally with friends. I had a roommate, for example, who specifically smoked pot for his gastrointestinal inflammation. He told me he had IBS. Anybody have IBS out there? And that he had it for years. He had it since he was small, and it's just always giving him problems. But I remember he smoked a lot of pot. So you have this mentality over pot where it's seen as helpful for inflammation even. They said it was cancer reducing for years, right? I'm sure people smoking pot didn't look into that for real. You know what I mean? Like, hey, it's small. They say it cures cancer, bro. Like, I remember people who smoke pot saying that, saying like, hey, there's evidence. I bet you a lot of people who heard that never looked into that. Said, let me actually look into this and this claims. Like, hey, just keep smoking, I'm not getting cancer. That might be old thinking, but that might be some old thinking here. But you look at pot and how it's super concentrated, they say nowadays, and they got the dabs. They'll tell you about the dabs and very strong stuff. And I'm no doctor. I'm just a guy with a podcast. But I've been getting these articles on the aggregates. We don't go on Daily Mail anymore, by the way. Total ban on Daily Mail. It's a site that should die. It should go into obscurity. This is the last time I'll mention it, unless I have to. I've been getting fed in the news aggregates all these emerging reports of young people with bowel cancer and a number of related bowel problems. Okay, so I'm no doctor. I'm just a guy with a podcast. But I'm connecting this with anecdotally with multiple people I knew over the years, heavy pot users, and gut issues, all the way from constipation, all the way to IBS, etc. Crohn's disease, I don't know what exactly that is. One of these articles that I was fed kind of spawned this a little bit. And it was one specific doctor making a sort of similar claim. So I guess I'm not, I did see a doctor say this, so I guess I'm not that smart. But check this out. Just saying that a lot of these young individuals with this emerging cancer and all that, there's also there's a Venn diagram here with heavy pot users. And it just makes sense, folks. I think you're going to start seeing this emerge. You're going to start seeing this pot, bowel cancer, inflammation, destruction connection to start coming about. You know, and there's a number of brand new things of our age. You know, I guess they used to have these over the generations, I'm sure, but for ours, it's vapes. We literally have no clue. You're gonna have in the coming decades. You're gonna have the cases, the class action lawsuits, the real information about long-term use of vapes. So that's another thing for you. Yeah, just things we don't really think about. But yeah, I think you're gonna start seeing this connection. So potheads in the chat, because I know you guys, you know, you're working on yourself. I don't want to judge you, but you don't have to be the way you are any longer. I'm not even saying that as a joke. That's just true. But you're being the way you are, and you're in the chat. Tell me your stomach don't feel too good, no. Potheads in the chat, heavy pot users. Into the dabs, into the oils, morning and night. Tell me your stomach don't feel too good, huh? You know, it's harmless. And that's just like one thing, right? The mental thing is another thing. So what else? That was just something I was thinking about. 888-775-3773. I got a boo-boo right now. What are y'all saying? 888-775-3773. I want to get to my calls here. Thanks for the support and all that. My tummy hurt. Uh-oh. All right, let's get to Mark. I think it's the first time caller out of Vermont. Appreciate you calling. You're on the air.
Oh, hi. It's Mark.
Mark, coming in clear. Go ahead.
Yeah. Just wondering your thoughts on this big, beautiful bill.
The big, beautiful bill. So, I'm not familiar. Did it pass? I'm not sure where it is procedurally right now and how much it's changed.
Oh, they said
if
it
has
passed.
at all. So it passed. That's
Passed.
right. It did pass.
Yeah.
I knew that. What I'm not familiar with at this point is if it has changed significantly at all from when they first presented it. But essentially, I was saying past that thing, man. It's like, I know that Rand Paul and these other people were coming out saying, again, another debt ceiling that they're increasing. But it really does matter the content here. And the big part for me was the border provisions. It seems to me, I kept hearing it's a big generational win, like a generational win for border enforcement. And I had to find out, and I kept hearing things about these things, and the bills go back and forth. I'm like, you know what, let me get smart. Let me read the summary. I read through it myself. I tried to compare it. In my best estimation in the episode I did on this, it really does seem like the biggest move since Reagan. Even the Fence Act of 2006. I'm a wait-and-see attitude. I want to see results, but you got to pass the bill. It seemed like this bill had to be passed, for that reason alone. So that's kind of my initial thoughts on it.
Yeah, but what about all the bees? Why bees?
You said what about bees?
Like the bring back better.
Oh, that was
big
all
beautiful bill.
And at the end, the last title of the bill was this almost philosophical summary of it, and there was a bunch of that. Yeah, big beautiful bill. I don't know if I saw Build Back Better in this one. I just read the summary. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
but
think I saw
if you
Build
do
Back
lowercase,
Better in this
if you
one.
do lowercase b's, what do you have?
Three lower. You get.
What does it
if
look
you get
like?
lowercase b's, you get lowercase b's.
Yeah, 666.
Oh, you're saying three lowercase b's is like 666.
666. It's right out there.
But did you see?
No different.
Am I coping, chat? I didn't see Big Beautiful Bill. I didn't see Build Back Better.
That
right?
was Biden. So they're both in on it. It's all part of the plan.
I just want to make sure. But maybe
it's
I'm
all
coping,
part of the
right?
plan.
It's still 3 B's.
Yeah. Well, I read somewhere that Amazon's pushing the microchip, so that's coming.
I saw Amazon. What was Amazon pushing just the other day on the JLP show? I don't know if you were watching, but something weird was happening, and then someone pointed out how Amazon, their logo was in the background.
Yeah, but I believe it's all satanically
What do you mean
connected.
by the chip? Wait, so are you
Microchip.
when you actually see Big Beautiful Bill, what is
Or
that?
Bring Back Better.
Besides you thinking that it might be, besides you saying, I mean, you said that explicitly. My apologies. Besides you saying that this is tied satanically in some way, right, to 666.
Yep.
What else is it telling you? What are you concluding besides that? Like
Well,
sincerely
what Bush
about Trump
Senior,
and about
what
this
Bush
bill?
Senior, what Bush Senior pushed years ago, and Putin now, the New World Order. I mean, it's all part of the plan.
And what is that plan?
One world government, one world religion, one world monetary system. It's right in our face. I mean, wake up, people.
Who's doing this?
Well, they are under different names, but whoever's ultimately in control above our government.
And Trump is doing this.
I believe it.
Trump is bringing
Yeah,
about
I
a
believe-
world government.
Yeah, it's all biblical, and you can see it. I mean,
How come how come the world government seem to hate him? What, am I wrong in that impression? How do you square that?
Well, like I keep saying, it's all part of the plan, and it's all going to work eventually together.
But how do you square that this world government seems to hate Trump? What am I missing here?
Well, supposedly he's only going to be in there another 3.5 years, so who knows after that point? He's just part of the process of that whole plan.
So is he part of it, or is he in the way for 4 years until they can enact the plan?
Well, each party, I believe, had their parts to support this ultimate goal. I believe, like with the, in the Biden administration with the whole COVID thing, I believe was a scam to get people, dumbed down and drugged up and to accept it. Because if you trace it, you can go on Wikipedia. It starts in China, goes to Iran, and then spreads from there.
COVID does?
Yep.
And
top
that tells
officials,
you what?
Everything.
And what does that tell you?
Again, it's all part of the plan. Whether you're first for certain sides,
I can see, man. Appreciate
they all work together to the ultimate goal of what's going to happen eventually.
Yeah, but you can't really describe that in any real sense, in any way that makes sense. So far you've been unable to really describe that in any accuracy
each
at
agenda,
all.
Each agenda helps.
It's really an old refrain that people have been saying for a long, long time. Secret societies.
Yeah, but
we can go back.
It's coming to a head,
years.
I believe. It's coming to a head. Because it got people so confused. Because of AI, people believe all that. Most people, I believe, are going to believe that lie. Whatever is shown them.
But people believe. But you don't see how but people believe lies. Don't you see that? They're gonna believe. Yeah. They're gonna believe a lie, right?
What they want to believe, whether it's true or not.
So would you rather than believe America's lie or someone else's lie? Here I am. I'm running cover for the globalists.
Well, I don't.
Sometimes I talk to some people sometimes, and it's like, we might need a globalist government. It just depends on who's running it.
Well, that's what they want.
Because look, it's like we're dumb. We're clearly dumb, and we don't know what's going on. We think we know what's going on.
They're teaching us to be dumb, I believe.
Things that don't make sense. We're dumb.
And they're trying to drug us down. I mean, Oregon legalized heroin and cocaine a few years ago.
Right.
I don't get that.
And people are okay with it. They got the
people out there saying, out there
it's a libertarian thing to do. It's a government stay out of it, legalize it. Well, I see, man. Well, Mark, appreciate you. How'd you find my show?
Oh, on YouTube, and I've seen different videos and.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Call me again with something else.
Okay.
Yeah, beautiful Bill. I think we done hashed it out. Cause see if you can come back. Yeah, if you can zero in, maybe describe something accurately for me, and we could get into it some other time, huh? Call me again.
Okay. Thanks.
888-775-3773. The globalists are taking over. It's a little interesting to list. I'm not a geopolitical expert. I'm just a guy with a podcast. Watching the news and stuff, though. I mean, trying to piece together the story of this year, the year before, some years. It kind of comes together a bit. Obama, right? You see the presidents over the years. And to tie this with a comment that I saw in that debate, I saw someone else say, it's just very interesting. I'm just thinking out loud here. Interesting things. But it's this debate I saw, Dinesh D'Souza Fuentes. They were very smart guys. And this was brought up, and both the guys were like this. Everybody on there, Alex Jones, all people have been following you. I guess we're all just guys with a podcast. But look, it's interesting to note the essentially completely the same approach to the world and geopolitics that Democrats and Republicans take. It seems if it's Trump, Biden, Obama, there may be some particular important details that matter, for sure. When to enter a war, how to do it, how to deal with this and that conflict. I trust Trump in there. I think it's a marked difference. But Trump, is it Trump? Whether it's Trump, Biden, Bush, blah blah blah. The macro of it all, if I may crudely summarize, is kind of the same deal. It's NATO, Russia's this enemy. It's the Cold War. It's like still the Cold War, right? There's this new, I call it new, I don't know. But, you know, the whole sphere with Middle East, that's been 20 plus years of an interesting American history. What am I saying here? I'm just describing this world, this not a material difference between the foreign policy of the left and the Democrats and the Republicans. It's because they really just want the same thing in a sense, right? A strong America. That's what smart people would want. So in many ways, they're complicit. They're all complicit in this, globalization? Technology, so many of these things in just these past few years have been wrecking balls and many things that we thought were even possible. So life is going to change, I think, for humanity. Like if it's not our generation, it's always changing, right? It's just, I don't think these grand experiments of the world wars and these ideologies of communism, Nazism, fascism, right? There's all these humanity coming up with these crazy, I'll call it crazy, whatever, but big ideas. I don't know if they're done with it. So this globalism, right? It's a runaway train in a certain sense, maybe. Can anyone rein it in? Can America be the one? I don't know. Or will it just be China? I don't know. That's how these people think, though. Some of these people with the nukes. I'm being very crude here. How about we talk to David out of Ocala, Florida? How you doing, sir? On the air.
Oh, that's quick. How you doing, Nick?
All is well, sir. Appreciate your call. Go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to comment about that last caller about the Bush address for the New World Order. It's still on YouTube. You can look it up. He made that address on 9/11 of 91, and 10 years to the day the Twin Towers came down. I mean, that's how blatant these people are, huh?
Blatant in which way?
Well, look at it. He preached about the New World Order on 9/11 of 1991. That's when his presidential address was about it, talking about Bush Sr.
Right, 10 years before.
Yeah, you're right. And 10 years to the day, them towers came down. And if you look on YouTube now, you'll see there's a bunch of videos and people bringing up those towers because there's just no way they just fell straight down without explosives. I mean, and that the Pentagon plane, there's plenty of, it wasn't a plane to me, but anyway, there's plenty of pilots that say there's no way they could have flown a plane like that, and professional pilots, let alone, these terrorists. You know what I'm saying?
So why'd they do it?
Well, to usher in that war. It's all about
what?
the money, man. It's all about the cash, dude. Right before
what
that,
is this? What is this world order? What are they ushering in?
The New World Order to control everybody. I mean, they pretty much got you under control already with them iPhones and the internet.
Oh, that's when they started controlling everyone, when the phones came out.
Pretty much. I mean,
people people were totally free before the phones, huh?
Well, it was
because I grew up only when the phones were phones weren't even out when I was, but I grew up with the internet and the computers were already out. I was a little boy already on the computer on the internet. So you're telling me that we were free before the computers? I was born into this overlord system. You're telling me we were free. It was like the Matrix. Before I was born, it was like it was Zion. It was like the Matrix. People were like free. Really? That's what it was like when there were no computers?
Well, they were more free. I mean, you had Vietnam, which was
they were more free.
You know what I'm saying? You had the civil rights movement and all that kind of stuff, but you didn't have this control now where, I mean, they talk about why is murders down. Hank was talking about that today, why murders are down, because people know they can track you with their phones. You know what I'm saying? They know every move you make if you got your phone with you.
Mm-hmm. I just didn't know. I grew up in this, so it was like what were they like? What were people like before the phones, before the computers?
Well, it was like your parents couldn't really find you if you didn't want them to find you. You know what I'm saying?
I got you. Yeah, I'm being a little silly, but that's a true thing. The children are raised actually totally different. I mean, they got anti-bullying laws, man. It's crazy, actually. So it's totally different. I won't be obtuse about that. I was being a little sarcastic because it's like the notion that. Of course, I grew up with the computers around me, but before the computers was this ancient civilization of golden people, totally free people. It's like, no, So I was being a little sarcastic about it, but you're absolutely right. Yeah, the children were raised totally different.
You felt freer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're trying to say here. Let me be not obtuse about that. The people were... Go ahead.
Anyway, you were talking about pot and stuff like that.
Yeah, what do you think?
Man, I started smoking pot in like 1976. I was 11 years old. I caught the tail end of the hippie era. It was great.
What do you mean? Great in what way?
It was just great to live back then. Everybody was carefree. It wasn't a big deal. They didn't make a big deal out of it. It's just until they started drug testing people through the insurance companies. Now there's just some more control. Because right now, listen, I got a medical marijuana card, and I haven't done anything in 30 days because I got to make sure I pass a urine test to get a job.
Oh, okay. But even with the card, you'll lose your job because the company doesn't want someone. Because the company simply doesn't want someone who smokes pot.
Well, they don't have to hire you. How's that? In the state of Florida now, I think it's legal in California. They can't do nothing about it.
I mean, but the bottom line to that would be because somewhere up there, somewhere down the road, someone doesn't want to hire someone that smokes pot.
Well, there's a thing they call it. They say don't tell, like a don't tell thing because they're having problems hiring people because everybody's got a card.
Yeah, that's crazy. I believe it. I bet you because there's been a huge and there's been total reports about this alcohol and smoking cigarettes that like they really for any talk about how free people are and people will do what they're going to do anyway, social engineering doesn't work. There's truth, all that, I've heard that, but also it's interesting to see how, call it campaigns, I don't know what it is, Gen Z does not smoke and drink like that. And so, but I bet you for sure they've adopted the pot, and I guess they like the nicotine vapes too. I'm sure the culture has totally changed. Now you'll be hard pressed to find if you're testing someone that, an employee that's free from the pot. I believe what you're saying here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so... But they tried to pass it in Florida, but it failed. It missed it by about 10%. It needed 10% more people to get it to pass, and they just didn't pass it, or it would be just totally legal.
Is it smoking pot itself? Is that legal or illegal recreationally? What's that like in Florida?
As long as you have a card, as long as you have a card,
it's only medically regulated like that. For everybody else, it's illegal.
Yeah. Yeah, you go to a doctor.
There's no pot store. There's no cannabis shops and all that.
Oh yeah, they're everywhere.
How are they everywhere? So then this medical stuff is widespread. A lot of people are getting medical cards.
Oh yeah, there's the state of Florida. I'd probably say if there's at least 1 million people got a card. Okay, you know what I'm saying? At least 1 million. There's pot stores
So it's
everywhere.
like effectively deregulated and all that in some respects.
But it depends on what job you're trying to get. So if you're trying to get into the car business, selling cars or anything like that, they can not hire you if you test positive because they're worried about you crashing one of their cars or something and hurting somebody.
That's kind of a happy medium. I mean, if people want to smoke this pot and all that, I guess just let the employers pick if they can have them. I mean, now you got to test and all that. It's kind of a totally different setup of society, but. Yeah,
well, hey, listen, I know you got to go. Let me leave you with this.
But why would you think an employer would not want to hire someone that's smoking pot?
Well, it's not them; it's the insurance companies won't insure you.
But I'm sure the insurance company. I'm sure employers agree with the insurance company. But let's start with the insurance. Why would an insurance company not want to insure you? But I don't know how that makes sense because we're talking about an employer. An employer's rights. We're talking about an employer maintaining their right to not employ you if you're smoking pot. So that doesn't make sense.
Well, they don't want you to go smoke a big fat one and then go drive one of their brand new Honda Accords and pull out in front of somebody and hurt some people. You get what I'm saying? I mean, that's really what they're concerned about. Or, falling down or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Or tripping and, having a case against them. If anything happens on a car dealership in the state of Florida, like you get into an accident, it's a mandatory drug test. They make you go and take a urine test. If you crash a car or hit somebody on a golf cart or somebody falls off your golf cart that you're driving, I mean it's pretty strict. But
I got you, David. Well,
anyway,
call,
I wanted to say one more thing before I go. But that guy, I believe that this new world order that he was talking about and everything. Because you got to realize, remember, I'll be 60 in December, so I grew up through this to see this. Once the economy crashes, that's when they'll bring it in. That's just my 2 cents because it's going to crash. There's no way you're going to get away from $37 trillion in debt. Okay, these guys are spending money like there's no tomorrow in our government.
Nations have done that all the time.
Yeah, but eventually it's gonna.
Nations, a whole bunch of nations, they've done that all the way from the kings all the way till recently. Nations have just said we're just not going to pay it. And
we're just not going to pay you.
Those were more maybe violent. Some of those concluded in violence, but whatever. Look, I'm saying is that it doesn't have to be that way. You don't know.
Well,
we can negotiate ourselves out of this.
Well, it'd be like if you went out, dude, and got like 10 visas and maxed them out. Okay, you're never going to be able to pay them off.
It's all fake numbers, man.
I know it's just nothing but paper.
Nations have done this where they just don't pay it.
So, hey, listen, have a great day, man. Have a great show.
Again.
Thanks for letting me talk to you. All right,
Thank
buddy.
you, sir.
All right, bye-bye.
888-775-3773. What was I saying? Thanks for the super chats, everybody. Appreciate it, Angban. Thank you so much. Lin Yan Chin says, sarcasm is the female pulse of insecurity/anxiety, which is the shadow of doubt in Bible noise, and also sin. To mock and obstruct truth is that impulse, mixed with cheap thrill for mouth breathers. Hey, Lin Yan Chin, feeling a little attacked here. Well, isn't that such a mouth breather thing to say? Feeling attacked. Psh, what a mouth breather thing to say. Sometimes it's comedy, Lin Yan Chin, right? It's like I'm not trying to beat everybody on every debate. It's not all a debate. Okay. Sometimes it's like perfect. Imagine, right? Because my reality, the computers existed. So the image, that's what I was trying to, painting this image of like a golden utopia before the anchor baby was around it's hilarious to me. Like, this is why I wish I was an animator. There's so many things I wish I could animate. Was just like right before the anchor baby being born, right? Computers being around, it was like a golden utopia. And I wouldn't be able to even deny it because I was born when I was around when the computers were around. So can I even really deny with him? That's really the comedy about it. But Lin Yan Chin, just getting to the truth of it, not being a mouth breather about it. We got to appreciate it, even if it hurts. All my Rumble viewers, shout out, thanks my members and all that. Calls coming in, I'll get to you in a sec. What else here? Buy me a coffee. Thank you, Anthony, Eric. Thank you, everybody. Always so generous here. Lovely members, supporters. We got Kevin, New York, on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Nick. How you doing?
All is well, sir. How you been?
Pretty good. The previous callers and their topics kind of urged me to call in and everything. Thank you for taking my call.
Nice.
Yeah. And even though I'm at work and everything, I have a little bit of free time to call in, and I wanted to throw in my 2 cents about it. But basically, I think that your previous callers are correct in exactly what they were saying. And they may not have answered some of your questions. Hopefully, I could help you out with that too.
Nice.
But I'm also along the lines of basically being convinced that world events are scripted. So that's basically what it is.
World events are scripts. You're saying scripts.
It's scripted. Yes, it's already said, done, and spoken for. Absolutely. And basically, not only could you basically use the Bible's prophecies as a backdrop for understanding all of this, but I was also thinking about the 33rd degree Freemasonry. His name is Albert Pike. He has 3 prophecies about the 3 world wars. And first, I must mention before I continue that Albert Pike, he passed away in something like 1902, 1904. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, okay.
Albert Pike.
Yeah, if you look up his prophecies having to do with the 3 world wars, he was strikingly accurate with his predictions. And obviously, since he made 3 predictions about the 3 world wars, only 2 of them have happened so far. But what he described about World War I and World War II before his death, obviously they happened before he died. There's striking accuracy to it. And basically, to get to it, World War III, which has yet to happen, it's basically being told to us before it happens that it's basically the trigger for World War III, according to Albert Pike, is that it's going to be a major war, which is going to include Zionism versus the Islamic world.
That's what he said?
Okay, yes. Are you following me so far?
I'm following. He said that the 3rd World War will involve Zionism versus Islam.
That's right. You can find this yourself. This information is online for anybody to look up.
Fascinating. I mean, that's an incredible claim, right? I'll reserve hype. You know, I had someone look me in the eyes, and I don't mean to derail you, sir. I'll let you get back on this very quickly here. But I had someone look me in the eyes and say another similar amazing statement that you just have to look up, right? They're like, no telescope out there in space, looking out in space, has ever turned around to image the Earth. We don't have a single image. I'm like, what? For real? That's crazy. And this guy didn't even tell me that, yeah, there are other cameras out there imaging the Earth. Yeah, telescopes look out. So I hope that's not like a thing here. But anyway, sorry, sir. Derailed you, sir. But please go on. So Albert Pike said, Albert Pike predicted well before, any of this happened. This 3rd World War, this incoming 3rd World War will be against, Zionism versus Islam. It's an incredible prediction. It seems to be shaping that way right now.
Well, yeah. The crazy thing is that it doesn't end there. He says that as Zionism and the Islamic world are going to be the triggers for World War III, that the survivors of this conflict are basically going to blame both groups. And it's going to be such a bloody, terrible conflict that the world is going to be fed up with both religions. And in effect, both religions, which is a part of the plan, is going to be exterminated at the same time.
And when
because the world is then going to say after this conflict that we can never ever allow these two groups to fight ever again, because look what they did. They destroyed the whole world. And then I think the last part of Albert Pike's prophecy having to do with this subject says that after these two major religions get exterminated at the same time, then the world will see a savage revolution from atheism.
Oh.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, so...
That's amazing.
So, yeah...
when did he say
they
this?
were 1902, 1904, maybe earlier than that.
1900... Well, I don't mean to be a little naysayer nitpicker, but I mean, that's exactly what I do. I mean, I don't have... do I have anything else for chat? But it's like 1900... What you said?
I don't have the exact date, but it's something like...
I think you'd be... I think maybe many... Not many, because this is a rare thing to be. But, like, for example, Alex Jones makes predictions. You understand what I'm trying to say here? It's just a matter of, well, do you trust him? And maybe someone has shown themselves to be trustworthy. They've shown themselves to have a huge scope of things and be able to... I bet you there were people even like that back then. Albert Pike was clearly one of them.
I wouldn't go so far as
like
to say
the
that
writing was on the wall of Zionism and stuff like that. Like people had been writing about that for a long time. Now I'm just saying stuff out loud. What were you saying?
No, I hear you. I wouldn't go so far as to say that I'm even trusting a particular source or a particular prediction. I'm just feeding information to the assumption, if you want to call it that assumption, that world events are scripted. And this prediction coming from Albert Pike, he was of the highest ranking of Freemasonry, which, in my understanding, only at the highest levels of Freemasonry do you get what then segues into something that resembles a satanic cult. And so when they put forward stuff like this, they're basically telling you that the geopolitical agenda that they have for the world is decades, maybe even centuries in the working. But
no,
the reason why
stuff,
people,
man. I want you to finish. Sorry.
Well, yeah. The reason why people bring this up is because, like, I mean, I'm not somebody who pushes fear. I want to make that clear. I don't push fear and conspiracy theories and stuff like that. I'm just talking what I think follows logically. And so with these crazy people, and shoot, I'm crazy too, probably. With these crazy people in these satanic cults who've deceived themselves into thinking that Lucifer is their god and all of that, they themselves want to create an end of the world scenario, if you want to put it like that. And so that's what we're going to see.
Right. I mean, yeah, I don't know what to say. It's just, you're talking about things that have been written about for a long time. So, yeah, maybe it was all destined to be that way. So when it happens, yeah, the people who've been saying it's going to be this way, I guess they sound real smart. It's just, and I'm not saying Albert Pike wasn't smart. It's just, I don't think it has to be that complicated. You're coming to me with this claim of scripted events, but all you've shown me is a smart guy, Albert Pike, who had a grasp of what was happening around him. I think there were more than just Albert Pike,
Nick,
who at the time was saying
I wouldn't even
a war
say,
was coming
I
in Europe, and the
I
writing
don't
was
know
on the wall
Albert
because.
Pike.
Sorry, what? Well,
I don't know
just finish
Albert
this.
Pike. I can't say that he is even smart.
Oh, okay. So then there's even less credence to what you're saying, and it's even more insane because You know, you don't have to take it that far. You're telling me that these are scripted events, but all you're telling me is the description of the world as many have described it over thousands of years, that it's evil, that calamities are coming, that these things are coming. And then you tell me about Albert Pike, who it sounds like you don't even not that familiar with him, but just even in this little description of him, I can gather that he's one of these smart guys of his time that had a grasp of what was happening. And there are people like that in their ages, and they can tell what's coming in a sense because they have a good sense of it. They have a grasp of history. They're usually statesmen, or sometimes even in our age, they're just really smart people we see. But look, the point I'm saying is that they had a grasp of what was going on, and so it wasn't that fantastic. You're saying he said this in 1900 something. It's not that fantastic to see the writing on the wall of the waning British Navy, of the Duke, whatever, challenging this old security of the British Navy and building his own navy, and the world looking around saying, "Whoa, what is this? Is war on the horizon?" That's all. That's as far as I could take it to conclude that events are all scripted. You'd have to give me a little bit more, don't you think? If we're rational people.
I have a lot to pick apart of what you just said, and I was listening to you. First of all, I wouldn't even go so far as we can't even use the word smart when talking about Albert Pike, simply from the fact that we both don't know this guy. What I'm trying to say is that he may not have been single-handedly acquired this knowledge. It may have been part of the group that he was in, but it was just I'm calling it foreknowledge, but during Albert Pike's time, it could have been very well considered to be a plan in his mind that he wrote about. I wouldn't.
I'm not
even
denying it. I'm just not the one sitting here totally believing it, right? And coming at me with the conclusion. I'd want, right.
Well,
It's more of just an interesting thought to you. It's more of just an interesting thought to you.
I guess you can say that, but I hold Bible prophecy is above anything else, and scratch all the Albert Pike thing.
But you don't know if man is simply. But you don't really know if man is simply reading Bible prophecy and trying to enact it, or if it's really Bible prophecy.
Say that again.
But you don't really know if man is simply reading Bible prophecy and reenacting it and making things happen, or it's truly Bible prophecy. You don't really know that.
Well, is that fair to say? Because
I think a Christian would say no. They don't know all things like God.
Well, no, but I mean, with the things that we read in the Bible, not only do we get a picture of how we should be living our life, but we get things that are warning.
How would you know if you're seeing if you're seeing Bible prophecy start happening in the world? How would you, Kevin, know if it's truly Bible prophecy happening and whatever that means, or man simply reading about these things and doing them? How would you know the difference? And I'm not denying that there is a difference. There may very well be, but I'm just asking, how would you know the difference?
How would I know the difference? Just by simply seeing it happen.
But how would you know what you're seeing happen?
There's a difference between recognizing it and then actually doing something about it. I know that there's nothing that I could do about it, but it's just the thing that we've been warned about it ahead of time, and that's the point.
But when you see it, how would you know for sure that it's? How would you know to distinguish between what you're seeing, if it's Bible prophecy enacted by God or higher powers, or is it man reenacting something they read? How would you be able to tell the difference?
I don't know, Nick. I don't know. I'm not so big on this to where I'm gonna push and argue about this. Like, oh, you have to believe me in it. I know it's
no. I find this fascinating.
One of those things that you'll have to see for yourself, and that's it.
Yeah, no, this is actually interesting. I really didn't think about much of this until you brought it up. So I do appreciate you bringing it up. Definitely not like big smart guy. Like, I just thought of this right now, and I find this super interesting. And so, yeah, and so the question is, how would you be able to tell the difference if you're seeing, when you start seeing events playing out in the world, and they're like Bible prophecy and they line up, you as an individual, as Kevin, watching these things happen, how would you know that it's like higher power, celestial powers causing this to happen because of a prophecy, or if man read this and they're reenacting? How would you know if it's the actual prophecy or not happening? And I guess you kind of try answering it because it would fit and align, I guess, perfectly.
I have no idea how to answer that question, Nick. I really don't. Because let me say it like this: the way you're asking me this question, and maybe I'm being wrong by saying this, but
yeah, go ahead.
This is the way I understand it. It's like you're asking me. This is a terrible, terrible hypothetical, but say that Jesus Christ is standing here in front of me and he says, Kevin, you're going to have this sandwich tomorrow at this time. And then tomorrow arrives and I have that sandwich at that time, and Nick comes to where I live and he's like, Kevin, how did you know that what you heard yesterday was even true, even though you saw it right in front of you? It's kind of like that. Like it's either you see it or you don't. Like, how else am I supposed to answer that?
Because the nature of my question is concerns more. Consider, like, I imagine if in the same hypothetical you get this prophecy, you're going to eat the sandwich, but you eat the sandwich every day. You know, how would you know? How would you know it wasn't because you were going to eat that sandwich anyways, or it was this prophecy? Like, it's the same here. You know, yeah. How do you know it? How do you know that Israel is destroying the temple to build the third one or whatever right now because it's a prophecy, or it's just these people that came together, and you know, they had a lot of money since the Rothschilds and back in like the World Wars, and they're like, hey, we got power here in Britain, let's get our Israel, and they thought they were going to have it in 20 years, and it turned into like 70, and they're like, oh man, and then let's get religious about it. And how do you know it's not that? Like, how would you just know is my question.
With how complicated and complex people are, I don't think that even Albert Pike with the secluded secret society that he was a part of could have had foreknowledge of things that were to happen in intervals of 20 to 50 to plus 100 years after his lifetime.
Come back to your phone, Kevin.
Oh,
but
you
I
didn't
heard
hear
that. I
everything
heard
said?
that.
My bad.
No, I totally heard that.
Okay.
And yeah, you were saying, I mean, his predictions were just far too good and far too accurate. I mean, just he seemed to have had foreknowledge, but that's what I'm saying about people.
Logically,
that's what I'm saying about people who have
plan.
a grasp of their age, and there are people like this. They're able to write very, very accurately about what's to come because it really is obvious to them. And I don't know Albert Pike, but it really is obvious to them when you just look at the facts. When you just look at I wish I could give you a better example, but it really does seem like that you have like some foreknowledge when someone has. I mean, it really wasn't like a total surprise that you just had to be someone who was paying attention, like a statesman, like someone who was really paying attention. It really wasn't a surprise that Europe was going to go into fall into great wars like that. It really wasn't. It was the writing was on the wall in a sense, and for those who spoke about it in a really professional way, it seems like they have foreknowledge about something.
Well, I'll think about what you said. I know that you're leading me down the road of skepticism with questioning.
Yeah, unless you tell me, unless you give me the smoking gun.
Good
I'm willing to hear.
It's good to question it, but I've already been down that road.
So take me down with you, man.
Trying to find out.
Help me out here. How do you know that the Masons had secret knowledge of events that were scripted? Besides you just impressed of Albert Pike's predictions, which I don't think is enough. That's what I'm getting at.
Well, I'm
a lot of people have impressive predictions.
Nick,
it's not that hard, actually.
What I'm basically trying to tell you, Nick, is that I put all of my faith and my trust in Bible prophecies, and this Albert Pike thing and his predictions is just a segue of it circles right back around to Bible prophecy. I don't know
Of course
how
it
to explain
does.
it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't know how
understand.
to explain it. I really
Call
don't.
me, but no, you'd have to, I guess, try again and bring me down the path. I'm willing to do it. It's definitely well. All I'm saying there is I'm willing to have a conversation about it. So yeah, bring it again, shall I? If I may summarize, if you got something else, one day.
Well, I was thinking of this. I don't know if I should get into it though. It's just that when we read end of the world prophecies about the Antichrist and stuff like that, look at the sources that it came from. It came from prophets like Daniel from the Bible, or from Elijah. And I mean, it's hard to nail down what's going to happen in the future, but if we're going to take any source that nails down what we're to expect, it is the Bible. You know what I mean? Because nothing else is as accurate as the Bible. People doubt the precision of the scriptures and what it says.
But yet you can't tell me. Oh, sorry.
No, I can't, Nick. I can't. It's
right.
just,
So all
it's
this,
a
all
knowing.
this, all this.
It's
Oh,
just, it's just that I
it
know
sounds like
that
you
I
have
know
a
that I
very
know.
vague outline, and we all have it. It's not special. That's what I'm getting at. And it's like everybody could do. It's like sounds like you have a very, very vague outline, and it's called the Bible and all that, but it's not really accurate in any way to get excited about, because what you're telling me is you can't answer me if you can't answer the question. How can you tell between when you're looking at events in the world? How can you know for sure that it's that prophecy is happening before you, or man is simply rhyming? It's simply rhyming.
If we're going to be talking about that, we have to be a little bit more specific. And what I mean by that is, I mean, there isn't one single prophecy out there. For example, like the prophecies of the mark of the beast, which is something that's warned about in the Bible to expect in the future. The adaptation of digital currencies seem to fit within that very same framework of everything that's talked about in that prophecy.
Right. So were vaccines.
Yep, it's just like that.
Was fiat currency.
Come on, Nick.
No, but it's true. I've heard this about all that.
You're smarter than that.
I've heard
Nick.
this about all those.
Come on.
No. I'm
Nick,
glad you brought up this mark of the beast, because it's in fact the perfect one about this one.
Not even
people love
even
saying
me.
People love calling everything the mark of the beast.
I know that.
The iPhone was the mark of the beast.
But then you're going down the route of the atheist non-believer by people have been saying this 100 years, so forget about looking out for it.
Well, see, this gets
the non-believers say the exact same thing, Nick. And that's just all I'm saying. Like I'm not hyped up about this with emotion. Like
and I'm not alleging you are. Well, go ahead.
Huh?
And I'm not saying you are, but go ahead.
Well, yeah, it's just I even question is whether or not I should have even brought this up and everything, because it almost seems like if you accept what I'm saying, then you then have to be fearful of it. No, nothing like that.
I'm not even getting into emotion.
There's nothing more or less to it. It's simply put as a prophecy / a warning in the Bible, because only God could have foreknowledge of things, and He's showing our favor for us, how much He loves us by warning us ahead of time of things that are going to happen.
Yeah, I'm not telling people to be afraid of it. I'm not implying that you're doing this or that with emotions. It's just kind of a matter of how we think, and we just think a little differently. For me, my framework doesn't fall under like, I'm starting to sound. Although it does pique my interest, that's not really my framework. I'm starting to sound like the unbelievers. The unbelievers say that's a no. If it's logical, it's logical. If it makes sense, it makes sense. And so that's just I just don't think like that. Like then in this case, the atheists are correct about the Christians, that they're not making sense. Then if their appeal is always to something else that they can't explain to you and bring you down the road to understand. Then if that's the case, then why even argue and have a conversation about it? There's no point. So And what is the proof? What is the proof? I guess here it's like scripted events and all that.
It is really interesting.
Anyways.
I guess it just goes to show how much mankind doesn't understand God and everything. Just like even me, like I've had plenty of opportunities, and I've listened to atheists talk about many things. Like and unfortunately, sometimes even the atheists are right about the bad things that they say about Christians. Unfortunately, but all I do know is that when Jesus returns, and I truly believe that he will, if Jesus is going to be disappointed in anyone, it's going to be the church first and foremost, because they didn't reflect anything that God wanted us to do, that life he wanted us to live.
Yeah,
you hardly
man,
see anybody becoming like that.
I think so, man. I think so.
Yeah, absolutely. But Nick, you gave me tons to think about,
Same
and it was
here,
a
bro.
really, really interesting conversation. Absolutely, yes. Have a good one. All right.
Call me again, Kevin.
Absolutely.
All right, folks. That's pretty much it, I think. What else about this? What else about this? Oh yeah, I'm just sounding. What am I sounding like an atheist on? Just on. Well, the atheists were right about the Christians there. They calling everything the mark of the beast. They can't all be the mark of the beast, right? Sounds like you didn't know. Sounds like you didn't know. And so it sounds like your outline was just an outline, and you have the same info we have. Yeah, there's evil things. There's predictions of terrible evil things, but I think it even says in the Bible that you're not going to know the actual like particular manner, when and where and how all this happens. I think that's also in the Bible. I think that's also in the Bible. Let me see here, folks. We got more super chats. Thank you, Linya and Chin, back to back. Deep says, breath, blood, and intent. Use yours to etch out your potential in life. The New World Order will adapt to overcome free individuals, but not the crowd freed by God. Deep. Yeah. Control. We were freer when we didn't have phones, but Lillian Chin says the direct or indirect script following of Bible bias is not important to be the direct will of God or of antagonists using that script as cover. And he continues, logic is the innate structure of existence, not a school of reason. Reason is mere pattern of bias, aka intent, as thought. Conflation is cancer. That one might be for me. Damn. Thank you, Linya Chin. Appreciate it. Always supportive and insightful. Might have to examine there. 888-775-3773. Thank you. Caleb, first-time caller on the air. Go ahead.
Hello.
We got Caleb. How you doing, sir?
Doing well.
Hey, thank you, first-time caller.
Yeah. So I noticed the shirt you were wearing. I was hearing the call for the last two callers, and I was wanting to call in. I will say I do enjoy your take on religion and how you approach it. You aren't just blindly faithful. You approach things with skepticism.
Nice.
But I was wanting to call about the shirt that you're wearing right now. What was it saying?
White History Month.
Right.
Happy White History Month, Caleb.
Happy White History Month.
Nice.
Is it currently White History Month?
It is currently. You are in White History Month. You are amidst it. You are swimming in it. White History Month is July because July just feels white.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I believe there's no officially designated White History Month, correct?
Says who? Not me.
Says,
Not Jesse Lee Peterson.
US, in the United States.
Basically, in my world, White History Month is in July, so I don't know what you're talking about. As far as I can see in my world, but I guess you asked a specific question. The government, no, not yet. We're getting Trump to do it.
Okay.
We're working on it.
So you want it to be White History Month, right?
It is White History Month.
Your view on it doesn't automatically.
Yeah, we're not gonna. I don't know. We might not gel on this, Caleb. But basically, let me just tell you, July is White History Month. But yes, July is White History Month. That's all.
Okay. So why do you think that white people need a month in addition, a White History Month?
I think we need to remember white history a little bit. I don't think I've come to learn so much about white history in just the last few years, stuff I never even knew. I really was, when I think about the world I grew up in and what I was taught, it was just so wrong. It's just a lie. And I think this lie of history has warped just everything. I mean, personally, if you ask me, I just like knowing real history. I mean, that's what history is. You got to have the real of it. I mean, if you're going to teach something in school, you got to have the real thing. I mean, come on, can we at least start with facts? And I know that's difficult with history, but come on, you're going to tell me everything I was taught in school, that people are suffering today. They're oppressed by this the shadow of colonialism. Like, I was taught something insane. Like, that's just not true. We are seeing this very world I grew up in. I'm an anchor baby, and I've benefited.
Mm-hmm.
I've lived an amazing life, and I'm seeing, even in my lifetime, I've seen this. But I hear Jesse, for example, someone I respect deeply, talk about this America that doesn't exist anymore. And I've seen that change in my lifetime, and I grew up in Canada as well. And it turns out all of these places are dying. I'm seeing this happening in Canada, America, and I haven't been in other places, but I've heard this refrain elsewhere. So, out of wanting to preserve, or even just simply show love, just at the very least, just show love and appreciation for all that. That's why I celebrate White History Month. I think it's actually, and it only makes sense because of the lie. It only really makes sense because of how it's lied about and all that.
So you're proposing that the lie that is taught for like history is, what is it specifically?
Well, think about it like this: if you grew up in the world I grew up in, you wouldn't realize the world that I'm enjoying is thanks to white people, right? I mean, we're talking about this very country itself, but it goes back further. It's a people that go back to Europe, right? And it's those people that came and started the greatest nations of the world, the most generous, most freest nations in all of history. We are in this inflection point. It's crazy. The magnitude of the occasion is so easily lost. We're just watching some podcast, but the magnitude of the occasion, we're living in the midst of this inflection point as this world is dying.
I feel as though it's kind of a fallacy to attribute the growth of like some of the largest nations on the world specifically to white people, because it's specifically due to them being white in oppression and slavery. Because all these things, all the nations that have grown, pretty much all of them were grown upon slavery, right, and oppression. You can't have the complete attribution of what caused all of these great nations and who created them and who made them free, because you're attributing it to the oppressors, right? You're attributing it to slave owners. You're attributing it to people who viewed other people because of their skin color or class as lower than them, and used that to force people to make things for them and build things for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've heard all that. I thought you're not saying anything new. This is what I'm saying. I've heard all that in education all over the years. Yeah, I've literally heard all this. Like, we've heard all this over and over again. We know this. Yeah, people were evil and did evil things with their power. And but here's what they don't tell you. Here's what they leave out. It turns out all people, all nations see each other this way, and and violence is at the very core of all international relationships. Even now, our allies. You know how our allies treat each other. It's crazy. It's called blood. But this goes back far back. Okay, this is what they don't tell you. It turns out everybody's a slaver. Everybody's an abuser. Everybody's an exploiter. They all are, man. And it's just hate the best at it. And so when you see it that way, I don't assign this moral superiority that you think the world has. You know, they're all the nations, all the peoples of the nation's world. They're all quite the same. And you see it now in this as the world becomes a multipolar world. You see everybody acting the same, man. And there's nobody really, you know, these so-called anti-colonialists, anti-racists, they're out there doing the exact same thing for their tribe. I mean, you know, what can I say, man? It's just, you're leaving a huge part out and assigning a special evil to these white people and assuming some things that I said, because I wasn't even saying that it was because that the whites' success and all that. I didn't even go as far to make any conclusion as to why, due to their genetics, skin color, or slavery or not. I made no claims. I just was pointing out the mere facts, and I think you agree with me on the mere facts here, that for all this slavery and all the good or bad, however you see it, all this was created, right? I mean, we agree on this at least very basic point, right? You say that it was created out of evil, right? That it was wrought together and they were able to put it together out of exploitation and all that. So however you see history, good or bad, we do agree they were able to do it, right? We can at least agree on that basic principle. They did it, right? They brought the wealth together and made these nations. We agree on that basic principle. Okay. And that's where I'm coming at it from. We just kind of see it differently. Yeah. What do you think about all that? I'm kind of just ranting now. Sorry.
You're all good. So you right at the start, you had mentioned that you didn't believe that it necessarily was still affecting Black people today, like the colonialism that happened and the race and the slavery, the racism, that it isn't necessarily still affecting Black people today.
Caleb, I want to do this, man. Look at the time. We're done with time. I really want to. We're supposed to be done here. I got to end this.
All right,
sir. Can you call me tomorrow? This is fascinating.
Possibly.
Thank you.
I'll try to. All right.
Yeah, man. Big. I think we laid it out there. We could definitely pick it back up, huh? Call me again.
All right. Have a great day.
Take care, sir. Happy White History Month. I didn't get to ask him if you love white people. I think I heard his call on the JLP show, and Jesse asked him if he loved white people, and he's like, "I'll put it like this: I forget how he put it. It was hard to say he loved white people, and that he came from a very religious family. And so, shout out to Caleb. Call me again. You got me going. Great convo. Take care, folks. I gotta go. Owen Schroyer later. JLP on InfoWars, by the way. Little tidbit for you. Little rumor out there for you. Take care, folks. That's it for me. That's the American Anchor, baby. I'll come back tomorrow with more show. We'll do the super chats and everything left. But for now, I got to go. What's July? It's the 4th tomorrow. Hopefully we can get down, huh? Take care. Peace.
The views, information, thoughts, and opinions expressed during this show are the individual's own and do not represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of the JLP Network or Bond. Their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent. The material and information presented here is for general information purposes only. The JLP Network and Bond name and all forms and abbreviations are the property of its owner, and its use does not imply endorsement of or opposition to any specific organization, product, or service.